Alright guys, so we're going to make a couple casts with the Piscifun Phantom X orange version, which is the 6:3 to 1 gear ratio. I believe, yes, 6:3 to 1. And see how good it casts. Got a chatterbait on with a Z-Man shad soft plastic. That didn't even backlash when it hit the water. Now I do have the centrifugal brakes on 3. I did see a lot of videos where 3 was the magic number on this reel. So I did set it on 3. I have the tension pretty tight. This is the part that shocked me, was because the tension I have pretty tight because I wasn't sure, you know, how I had it set up, and I didn't want to have any backlashes at first. And I did stop the spool that time myself because it's just kind of a habit. But that went pretty far for the tension knob being pretty tight. And this thing is smooth. Very smooth. Now I'm gonna put the tension knob down 1 click. Loosen it 1 click. Let's do 2 clicks. I loosened it 2 clicks. Still no overrun. So I'm gonna loosen this 1 more click. 2 more clicks actually. Still no overrun or no fluff. Let's do 2 more clicks. Alright, if you see there, I did have some fluff. It did fluff up a little bit, but it sorted itself out before hitting the water. I'm gonna go 1 click tighter because I did 2 clicks looser, and it did fluff up. It did fluff up a little bit, so I'm gonna go 1 click back tighter. And just the difference that made. I did have a little bit of backlash. I didn't thumb the spool right before getting in the water. So I'm going to pull this small backlash out. Nothing serious. Now what I'm going to do is now, I'm going to set the I'm going to set the centrifugal brake to 2. I'm going to set it to 2 and then put that tension back up 1, which is putting it back up 2 because I did put it down 2, got some fluff, brung it up 1. So now I'm going to bring it up 1 more to replace those 2 that I loosened it, and see how that goes. Now I did have some fluff, but it did sort itself out before the lure hit the water. The centrifugal brakes do cause it to have a little bit of a scream, and it's not a loud scream, but it's a normal sound you hear from centrifugal brakes. And I think it just has something to do with the plastic or the brass ring that's on the inside when it does cause that friction to give your reel the brakes that it needs. So like I said, I did set this centrifugal brake down to 2, and it did fluff a little bit. So let's see if it does it again. Now that time I backlashed. I may have cast it a little bit harder than the first time. The first time it did sort itself out before the lure hit the water. This time it definitely did backlash. Now if I set the centrifugal brakes to 3, this thing casts without a backlash, without thumb play. Without using my thumb, it will not backlash. I mean, if I try Thor hammering, slamming this thing to cast out there, it may backlash. I'm not sure. But just a regular cast out there, to get it out there, it casts with no backlash. Lure hits the water without thumb play, no backlash. But I'm going to put the spool tension up one click while the brakes are on 2. And you see, it did fluff up. I don't know if you guys noticed. It's hard for me to cast and perfectly set the reel in front of the camera for you guys to see. I have a really weird chest mount, and the way it is, I really can't see the screen looking down, and then it's pretty bright outside. It's sunny today. But it did fluff up and sorted itself out as it went along. The brakes did its job. So it's a give or take. If I was to put this on 3, loosen the tension 2 clicks, it's going to be fine. Let me tighten the tension 2 clicks. See how that works out. While it's on 2, the brakes are on 2. And that had no fluff. Looked pretty good. I didn't see any line getting loose. I didn't want to thumb it before it hitting the water, but I didn't want it to backlash either. So now I'm going to try casting it without thumbing it. I thumbed it again after I said I wasn't. Let's bring that back in. Now I'm using a 3/8 ounce chatterbait. That didn't even backlash without no thumb. No backlash without the thumb. So with this reel, you got to kind of find that sweet spot. You can play with the brakes on 2. You can play with them on 3. Mess around with the tension knob. It does click, so it's easy to be precise. I'm going to set these centrifugal brakes back to 3 because so far that is my comfort zone. 3 is my comfort zone because I'm able to play with the tension knob while on 3, depending on how far I'm casting. If I put it on 2 and I accidentally put it too loose on the tension knob, I'm definitely going to get backlashes. So with 3, I'm able to play with the tension knob depending on how far I'm trying to go, how far I'm trying to cast. If I'm just trying to get under a tree, you set it to 3, mess with the tension knob, and that to me is just your set it, forget it. And as you can see, no thumb. On 3, no thumb. I would like to catch a fish and see how well it fights, but the bite is a little finicky today. Shake this grass off. Alright, not gonna get off. Okay. Just one more time, cast it out. No thumb. Perfect. I don't know if you guys can see that. No thumb. No backlash. But so far, this thing is a beauty. So far, it's a beauty. It's very smooth reeling in. It does have that little bit of a scream because of the centrifugal brakes. I'm going to get online, do some research to see if there's a good way to get rid of that. It doesn't really bother me. I don't care about it. I actually like the sound a little bit. A lot of my reels are small casting, quiet casting. And that sound to me is just sounds mechanical. It just sounds cool to me, so it really doesn't bother me. But I will do some research to see if there's a way to get rid of that sound without causing other problems. And if I see it's going to cause other problems later on down the line, then I'll leave it the way it is. It's no big deal. It's not like a really loud scream. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's not bad. It doesn't really bother me. Especially how much this reel prevents backlash by just putting it to setting up your brakes and your tension knob. I mean, and it doesn't backlash. Like, it doesn't backlash. That hits the water without a backlash. It's very hard to do that with certain reels. You have reels that cost maybe like $200 and more, and you have to set everything just right. Especially with every different lure you use, you have to set it up right so you don't cause any backlash. You have to use thumb play. You cannot let that lure hit the water without using thumb play. But this one, normally you would set the tension loose or the brakes loose to get further casting distance, but then you also have to make sure you thumb play your spool the right way, or you will cause backlash. But with this, I mean, I just launched that thing out there. That has to be at least a good 50, 60 feet, maybe more. And that thing casts beautifully. It's smooth with just some noise, and reeling it in, I mean, this thing is smooth. Reeling it in is smooth. I don't want to sound like I'm just somebody who just wants to talk really good about this reel, because I'm really not a person to spend crazy dollars on a reel. You know, $150, $200 on a reel. I like to keep it budget, because you know what? As long as the reel lasts and it casts and it catches fish, and if I so happen to have a breakdown or something messes up and I only paid $50 for it, I can either repair it or buy a new one for 50 bucks. And if a reel like this broke on me after a year and I spent 50 bucks on it, and I went and bought another one brand new for 50 bucks, and it lasted me another year, that's 2 years that I paid for a reel that I paid $100 for. And some people are paying double that for a reel that has to get maintenance. I'm pretty sure a $200 reel will last years. But I don't see the loss in buying a $50 reel, especially ones as good as this one. I'm so shocked of how good it was. I mean, this is going to be my go-to reel from now on. I have a Daiwa at home, and even though it's from a better known company, and you know that you can stand behind Daiwa, they make quality reels, and you know if you buy a reel from Daiwa, whether it's $50, $100, $200, you know it's going to be good quality and it's going to last. But certain things about that Daiwa, as far as the knobs, these knobs have no play. I'm not sure if you would get one that has play. This one, the knobs have no play. You do not feel anything. There's no looseness here at all. Everything feels tight. It doesn't feel like there's any flex in the plastic. I mean, it even has under there. I'm not sure if you guys can see. Let me see if I can get it to look underneath where the I'm not sure what that part is called, where the line guide, where the eye is underneath it. The little screw head is metal. Most reels I've seen, where's it at? This piece right here is plastic. On here, it's metal. It has 8 bearings. I mean, for $50 and the way this thing casts, it's pretty good.